I realized that I actually never properly introduced myself to you. I wanted to do that for a while now, but I just didn't know how much I can open up. Despite having this channel, I'm a very private person. I never talk about myself, my emotions, and my feelings, even with people close to me. And I became very, very good at not broadcasting what's really happening with me. So finally today I'm going to pivot from sharing how I do things to tell you a bit about myself, my space, and my tech. If you're new here, my name is Roman. I'm a systems developer and a project manager. I spent most of my career on Wall Street. I learned a ton there, and not just about finance. I learned how to connect with people and how to step back from the daily grind and frustration to see the big picture. But most importantly, I discovered myself, what and who I am, and what drives me and what I'm good at. And all that is now helping me in the next leg of my career away from Wall Street. I love what I do, and I get to do it surrounded by people I love and respect. My team and I are very good at what we do, and I think that the engine that makes us tick is trust. I trust my people implicitly, not just to own their projects, but also to have my back. And I think they also trust me to look after them and to watch their backs, and to make sure that they're recognized, protected, and supported. So why am I here? And that's the difficult part for me to talk about. If I really wanted to trace back the idea of starting my YouTube channel, I'd go back probably 4 years ago, when my little happy life turned inside out overnight. It was a real sucker punch, and it threw me into depression so bad I was barely able to function. Before that, I dismissed the possibility, or even the thought that I could ever get depressed. It was just not my thing. I solve problems, I figure things out, and I make it right. I get knocked down, I get up, course correct, and I keep going. I don't complain or ever ask for help. Instead, I help others. But, well, there I was, miserable and sad. And I suppose the worst part was that I wanted to hurt. I wanted to be in pain, and I convinced myself that I deserved every bit of it. And I was slowly drifting to a point of no return. Intellectually, I knew I either had to change the conversation in my head or it's lights out. But it was so hard to act on it because I was giving up. And so I leaned into the systems, the very same systems that I built over the years to solve everything, except now I needed them to give me the mental and emotional clarity. And I dragged myself through 5WH, probably my foundational system, which is answering 5 simple W questions: what, why, who, when, and where. And if you're honest with yourself, like really, really honest, the H, the how, will present itself. 5WH has been around for centuries in one form or another. I just have my own interpretation of it. By the way, I have an episode on it if you want to check it out. The link is in the show notes. Anyway, it helped me sort through all the voices in my head and finally start taking responsibility for my feelings and my thoughts, and redirect my mind into something else. And that something else was kind of unexpected. All that emotional crisis management and going through the 5WH inquiry led me to realize that I needed a new purpose. I know a lot, I've seen a lot, I've lived through a bunch of historic events, so why not share what I know and what I learned over the years to make it part of my story? The question was how. And here's what happened. Answering these 5W questions brought up something from a lifetime in the past and a world away. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with how TV was made. It just seemed so magical and mysterious because clearly there was more to it than just what fit the screen. And I remember drawing studio sets and imagining how the cameras would move to get different angles and how I would frame the scenes and the way the lights would go. Then years later, during my senior year in school, I interned at a local TV station. And then after college, I worked for a private broadcaster full-time. I worked 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, slept at work, ate peanut butter for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and made no real money, and I had a freaking blast. But it didn't last. An opportunity came up to move to America where, a real life with a real job had to happen. So anyway, searching for the how wasn't long. YouTube seemed like a natural choice, but it also seemed way over my head. I had not edited a video in my life. I knew nothing about keyframing, sound, color grading, motion graphics, and 100 other things that go into this. But if I know anything about myself, is that I can learn and that I can be very persistent once I set my mind to something. And I also know that if anyone can do it, so can I, as long as I have a purpose for doing that. And well, here I am running my own channel, working 7 days a week, making no money doing it, and having a blast. And I still love peanut butter. So let me show you around. Doing what I do for a living, I naturally have appreciation for well-designed software, but the tech that runs that software and the space where it all happens are just as important to me. These three things are my operational layers. If one of them is off, it throws my whole ecosystem off kilter. And it's not like I can't function, no, but I will get cranky, distracted, and inefficient. But if everything clicks and there's no friction, I can actually enjoy getting even the most tedious stuff done. If I'm in a space that I want to be in, using devices and apps that work seamlessly together, to me, it makes up for, I don't know, half the effort to get anything done. And this is exactly why I went all in on Apple. Their ecosystem is second to none. Many people think that Apple is just a maker of pretty devices. Well, I disagree. Let me explain. All those years in investment banking also taught me to look at everything well beyond what meets the eye. So as far as Apple goes, just like Starbucks is not in the coffee business and McDonald's is not in a burger business, Apple's shtick is not hardware. You see, under the surface of everything that Apple does, there are hundreds of millions of lines of code. It's the software, visible and invisible, that makes all those pretty devices work like magic. And I think what draws people in is the experience of the Apple ecosystem that lives on those pretty devices. So in my videos, I'm sharing how I milk that ecosystem and how I get the most out of Apple apps, so things are simpler, more efficient, and our lives are better. By the way, there are no sponsored products in this video. Everything I'm going to show you was either purchased or made by me. So let's take a look. Let me introduce you to my desk. This is Jarvis Standing Desk by Herman Miller. It's 72 inches long and 30 inches wide, or nearly 2 meters by 75 centimeters. This desktop gives me enough runway to work and film close-ups without having to move anything. It's sturdy and heavy, and the mechanicals are great, but the quality and durability of the desktop is just awful. You know, I have a small Herman Miller desk in another room that's over 15 years old, and that thing is indestructible. Here, I lifted this keyboard to clean under it. It slipped out of my hands and it left a gash on the surface. I thought I was getting the same quality Herman Miller product when I bought this one, but it turned out to be a dud. Very disappointing. Keyboard's okay though. My desk lamp is Ptolemeo by Artemid. I hope I'm saying that right. I think it's the best desk lamp out there. It's expensive, but you can get it on sale and it will last a lifetime. The clock's by Hay, and my desk toy is Optimist that I got from the New York MoMA Design Store. On the other side, I have a magazine rack of an undetermined origin that holds my laptop stand by 12 South, Magic Keyboard for iPad, and a spare compact Apple keyboard. This laptop stand is by Human Centric. What I like about it is that it comes with swappable inserts in different sizes to fit multiple devices. It matches the Apple aesthetic perfectly, and it doesn't have any visible branding, which is important to me. I actually have two of these. The other one is upstairs on that other Herman Miller desk. Underneath my desk is the set of drawers that's been spray painted and glued back together multiple times. And my desk chair is Cosm, also by Herman Miller, and this one is actually a very good product. It's comfortable, durable, easy to clean, and it looks great. And I can swing my arm over the back like this. Super comfy. I had it for about 2 years, and so far I'm very happy with it. Now let's talk about the fun part, the tech that I have on my desk. Every tech purchase I make, I view it as an investment in my time and well-being. And because this stuff is so super expensive, I always look for ways to save. I think certified refurbished devices directly from Apple are great value, and I always look there first. And on top of that, I will get that 3% cash back from Apple Card. I also prefer to go for higher specs simply because I want things to remain functional as long as possible, and also to accommodate future needs as they expand. And it actually saves me money, time, and regret, because I'm not buying anything twice. Alright, so up here I've got a dual studio display set up with height and tilt adjustable stands. This display is simply awesome. The built-in speakers and the 5K resolution is obviously a necessity for me. They're bright, sharp, and easy to adjust, but besides that, they just look beautiful. I'd buy them again in a heartbeat. They make such a huge difference. The displays are riding a maxed out Mac Mini with M4 Pro chip and 4TB of storage. This is my first desktop Mac, and it kind of blew me away. This thing can chew through anything. I run Final Cut Motion and Pixelmator all at the same time, and then I also add email, messages, reminders, notes, Safari, and Teams, and this little puck just mills through everything like a champ. I had it since it first came out in October 24, and I couldn't be happier with my choice. And then I've got the Apple Magic Keyboard, mouse, and trackpad. By the way, have you noticed that on all Apple keyboards, the base keys are the same size and distance from each other? Now, the Magic Mouse. Say what you want about it. I love it. And I absolutely do not care how it charges. What I do care about is how insanely functional it is. My laptop was the first generation 15-inch MacBook Air with M2 chip. I had it since it came out in the summer of 23. And just like Mac Mini, it's a workhorse in its own right. I don't leave the house without it, unless I'm doing a grocery run. It's my daily carry. I use it on my commute, at the office at work, and when I travel, and anywhere in the house when I'm not here at my desk. The battery lasts forever, it's light and thin, and the screen is bright and big enough to comfortably have two apps side by side. And there is enough horsepower to do anything. And most importantly, it brings the Apple ecosystem to my Windows environment at work. And since I run all of my workflows using Apple apps, that's a big deal for me. My work email, SharePoint files, and Teams are always authenticated and connected. All I have to do is just open the lid. Next, iPad. I've got 13-inch iPad Pro with M4 chip and Apple Pencil Pro. It helps me with the things that I can't or don't want to do on my Mac, like handwriting, journaling, sketching, drawing, or marking up documents. Or I can use it as a second or a third screen with just one click. It's a great device all around, and OS 26 made it even better, but it does not replace my laptop, nor do I want it to. I also have iPad mini that I originally bought for my teleprompter, and frankly, I did not expect to like it as much as I do. It's a fantastic reader, and of course, it's a great portable screen to watch and browse, or deal with email on occasion. But honestly, outside of that, for me, the screen is just too small for any sort of deep work. Then the AirPods, I recently upgraded to the 3rd Gen AirPods Pro. Next is my Apple Watch Ultra 3. This thing is attached to me 23.5 hours per day. And then up there on the shelf, I have 2nd generation HomePod. And lastly, the iPhone. At the time of this recording, I have 17 Pro Max in silver, and it resides in a dark blue tech-woven case by Apple. I like this case. It's got a very good grip, and it seems to be very durable and easy to maintain. I just wash it with dish soap and then dry it overnight, and it looks like new. And now let's look at the rest of this room. The two paintings in my office are actually by me. The one above my desk is the most recent, and it happens to be a third paint over on this canvas. I'm very OCD about my art. It needs to be perfect, but I can't describe what perfect is until I see it. But these things take the life of their own once I get going. And just like with this one, it's not quite what I had in mind when I started, but I like how it turned out. The second painting over there is actually very old. I think it goes back 15 years or so. Something didn't quite feel right, and it was just sitting in storage all this time. But once I rolled over black paint on it, everything just popped into place. The poster is also mine, but the image is a blown up reflection on glass that's part of another photo. That's why it's so washed out and grainy, but I absolutely love how it came out. I have 2 more reflections from the same series of shots, and I'm thinking of creating a set of 3 posters. Just need to find some time to do it all. By the way, I would love to know what you think, so hit me in the comments and let me know. Next to my desk is the storage unit from IKEA. It's actually 2 Basta cabinets stacked together. The bookshelf is Cubitech that we had for a very long time. I don't think it's made anymore, so I guess it's a vintage piece. You can make this thing into any shape as long as you have the parts. It's sturdy and durable, and I think it looks pretty good, kind of simple and minimal. And this whole thing can be broken down into a bunch of squares and connection clamps. On top I have 2 Artemid clamp-on lamps to match my desk lamp. On the shelf I have a bunch of books and a few knickknacks. My old camera collection and my very first computer. It's the 1993 Toshiba Satellite. Just look at this thing. Amazing, isn't it? And lastly, my camera rig. I work in this room more than I film, and so I did not want to trip over tripods, microphone poles, lampstands, and cables. So I mounted all of my filming gear on this rolling stand. It holds everything I need to film, and I can easily move it around to get a different angle. I really like how this room turned out. Sometimes I shut off the overhead lights and just keep my side lamps on, and it creates this very warm and moody atmosphere that I really enjoy. And then I throw some lo-fi music on my HomePod, and I can be here for hours. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. I love you.